Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be fantasy booking the next 10 WWE Champions who I think they should be. I did a video like this with the Universal Champion. I don't remember who I had as the Universal Champion at this point. I was probably dead wrong. But let's see if we can get any closer with this booking, and it kind of gets wild towards the end, so brace yourselves. First we head to Extreme Rules. The rematch from Clash at the Castle, which was a good match, by the way. We have Roman Reigns, who would have defended the Universal title against Karrion Kross earlier in the night, is defending the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre in an Extreme Rules match. The match goes on pretty good. It goes probably about 18 minutes. Weapons filled everywhere. McIntyre's giving claymores to the Usos, Sami Zayn, as well as Sokoa. I don't know how they pronounce. I'm going to say Sokoa. Sokoa sounds more correct. So he's giving claymores to everyone. It's just as climactic as, nail biting as it was at Clash at the Castle. It's like, okay, it's over, kick out. Okay, it's over, kick out. But this time, Drew McIntyre hits the claymore. Everyone's down. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre finally beats Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. McIntyre doesn't hold the championship long, as of course he is going into a program with Reigns still into Survivor Series, brand warfare. And Reigns and the Bloodline beat down Drew McIntyre, which caused Austin Theory to come out and cash his Money in the Bank, finally successfully becoming the WWE Champion. He goes on to face off against Roman Reigns in Survivor Series and gets absolutely crushed by Roman Reigns. However, and then he enters a feud with Drew McIntyre for day 1. It's your standard affair. Austin Theory, he thinks he's the shit. McIntyre is going to prove to him that he isn't the shit. And these two go on for about 15 minutes. It'll be a pretty great match between the two, especially with the WWE title in line, considering they will be near the top of the card. However, near the end of the match, Drew McIntyre goes for a claymore, but however, in the middle of it, Austin Theory, goes underneath him, grabs him into a roll-up, grabbing him by the tights. 1, 2, 3. Austin Theory retains the WWE Championship. Now we go into the Royal Rumble season, and we're going into a program with Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, and Drew McIntyre, where Seth Rollins is telling McIntyre, look, buddy, you lost to Austin Theory already. Back of the line, buddy. It's my turn. I haven't held gold in a long time, and it's about time Seth freaking Rollins becomes world champion again. And then it's decided by Adam Pearce or whoever that it's going to be a triple threat match after Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre have a series of one-on-one matches that usually end up with Rollins getting a narrow victory, McIntyre getting a narrow victory, or Theory causing them both to be disqualified. So it's a triple threat match. This match will be really good. Austin Theory is not a bad wrestler. He's pretty good, athletic. Can do flippy shit if he needs to. Doesn't do it often because he's a heel. McIntyre is Drew McIntyre, and Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins. The guys can make magic out there. It's a great match. They go on 16, 17 minutes. Seth Rollins hits Drew McIntyre with the stomp. 1, 2, 3, and becomes WWE Champion. Again, ending Austin Theory's reign without even pinning him. And that is the story going into Fastlane, as Austin Theory's like, whoa, I should be WWE Champion right now. You never pinned me, Sethy boy. You've got to pin me. That's my title, so how about you give it back? And Seth's like, no, I'm not giving you the title back. So, yes, it's a heel versus heel affair, but, it works for storyline purposes. They go on for about 15, 16 minutes at Fastlane. Seth Rollins hits the stomp on Austin Theory. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins retains the WWE Champion. And now we go on to WrestleMania 40 with the Royal Rumble winner, the main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania 40, or 39, I mean. Why not Night 2? Because Night 2 is the women's turn, the main event, Night 2. So we have Seth Rollins going up against the Royal Rumble winner, Cody Rhodes. And it's Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. They'll put on an amazing main event that'll lead with Cody Rhodes becoming the WWE Champion. And then we just have a repeat of their first feud this year. Backlash, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins as a no-holds-barred match. The two beat the absolute hell out of each other. Can we see blood, please? That would be cool. And Cody Rhodes beats Seth Rollins. I would say he beats himself. And then we have the rematch of the 5-star Hell in a Cell match. And can we get the classic cell, please? That would be cool as well. It's the classic cell. Blood is everywhere. We can have Seth attack the formerly torn pectoral muscle. Some elbows in there. Gets a chair and slams it into the mat with his armpit underneath there. You know, attacking that area. You know, because of story. Because of story. You know, it's great. Maybe make it a lot more brutal than it was last time, because, I mean, it was still brutal because Cody Rhodes was wrestling with a torn fucking pec. But this time, yeah, just have Seth and Cody kind of just fall off the top of the cell. Make it amazing. They can do it. Cody's fucking crazy, and Seth is too. But Cody Rhodes does end up retaining at the end of the day, probably covered in a crimson mask. Next up, we go into Cody Rhodes' next feud. We go into Money in the Bank, and Cody Rhodes is facing off against the Viper, the Legend Killer, Randy Orton. This is a story of Randy Orton telling Cody that Randy Orton's a heel, by the way, and he says, "You've always lived in my shadow, and you're only WWE champion with my permission. Now I'm rescinding that permission." And Cody Rhodes is like, "I don't need anyone's permission to be WWE champion. Not even you, Randy. You might have brought me into the WWE, but I've gotten to this point without you, and that eats you up on the inside. So we've got a blood feud. We can even have Randy Orton talk shit about Dusty. Maybe that's going to be a bad taste in people's mouths, but it's Randy Orton. I don't think he gives a fuck." But Cody Rhodes retains at the end of the day, and we go on to Battleground. Maybe a Texas Bull Rope match would be pretty good for this. You know, Dusty's match. Have Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton beat the shit out of each other with a bull rope. Maybe you put a cowbell on there and have Cody smack the shit out of Randy Orton with a cowbell and it makes a funny noise. I'd enjoy that. Cody Rhodes retains. Now we go into SummerSlam for a one-off feud between himself and John Cena. I want this because I would just love to see John Cena not give a fuck about kayfabe and just have him drop AEW's name out of his mouth multiple times. Like AEW this, AEW that, AEW that would be so cool. And just have him mention the fact that Cody Rhodes got pissed off because his own company wouldn't push him, so he begged Vince McMahon and Triple H to push him here instead. And yeah, it would be an amazing promo feud. But Cody Rhodes does beat John Cena in a good 20-25 minute match. If it's not 5 stars, then they underperformed. And then have John Cena shake Cody Rhodes' hands and sign up like, "Hey, you did pretty good, Jack." Next is going to be a guy who's currently in WWE but hasn't shown up yet, and that's Cody Rhodes versus Braun Strowman. Strowman being the next guy to face off against Cody Rhodes. Braun Strowman being this monster heel, destroying shit in his path, saying, "Cody Rhodes, I want a WWE title match." Cody's like, "Sure," but Adam Pearce is like, whoa, Braun, you can't just go offering title matches. And Cody Rhodes is like, "Bro, I just said," and Adam Pearce interrupts him, like, "No, you have to earn it." And Cody Rhodes is like, "Seriously, dude? Like, I don't mind. It's a little bit of comedy for me." And so we still get it. Braun Strowman and Cody Rhodes. It's a good cat and mouse kind of matchup. Braun Strowman throwing Cody Rhodes around the ring, slamming him through, like, outside the ring onto the mat. Cody Rhodes getting the shit ragdolled out of him. But Cody Rhodes, when the ref is turned up, low blows Braun Strowman, bends his big ass over and hits him with the crossroads. Hopefully, Braun Strowman does a spike bump. So, spikes his head, that's it. Sorry. Terminology, not my greatest, says the guy who did pro wrestling training for like 3 months and then COVID happened. I know. Sad. Cody Rhodes hits the crossroads, pins Braun Strowman to retain. Now we go into Extreme Rules. Braun Strowman's super pissed. Cody Rhodes cheated. And he's supposed to be the good guy. And he wants Cody Rhodes in a last man standing match. Cody Rhodes pulls a John Cena and duct tapes Braun Strowman's fucking feet. You can either do that, or you can have Cody Rhodes pull a Big Show and somehow have Braun Strowman fall into the LED lights and have this, and then that's how he beats the monster. Is like that. It took electrocuting Braun Strowman to beat him. So Cody Rhodes retains. Next up at day 1. This is, of course, the WWE's like, hey, it's a big show. We need to do big matches. And I can't really think of a bigger match than having Cody Rhodes face off against Edge and AJ Styles at the same time. Have them go 30 minutes. Why not? Tell them, have fucking fun. This match would be amazing. Again, if this one isn't 5 stars, WWE, these guys underperformed. Cody Rhodes retains. Another potential 5-star match is going to be between Cody Rhodes and Johnny Gargano. Gargano wins this huge Fatal 4-Way match on Monday Night Raw, which consists of Ciampa, Matt Riddle, and Solo Sikoa. Let's say those 4. Why Solo Sikoa? I don't know. Let's say Reigns is taking a day off. And Johnny Gargano and Cody Rhodes have this feud. And Johnny Gargano says he chose WWE over Cody Rhodes' Promised Land. And he says it's not really a Promised Land because even Cody Rhodes left, taking more jabs at AEW. I think it would be cool, but again, another potential 5-star match. Tell these guys have fun. They go 25 minutes. Cody Rhodes retains. It's fun. Now we bring in 6 people together for my favorite matchup, the Elimination Chamber match. Randy Orton, Edge, Cody Rhodes, Johnny Gargano, AJ Styles, and Braun Strowman. Cody Rhodes says he's taking on all challengers. These 5 come out, and Pierce is like, okay, let's do an Elimination Chamber match. And it's the classic chamber instead of the Funhouse Chamber. Not the Firefly Funhouse, just Funhouse. And nobody likes regular Funhouses. They're boring. They're not fun. They're not. Makes the wrestlers look like bitches who need to be patted down so they don't get hurt. Yeah, Cody Rhodes starts the match off with AJ Styles. Then Randy Orton comes in, RKO Bonanzas. Edge comes in, spears him. Gargano comes out, pins AJ Styles. Randy Orton hits Edge with an RKO. He's eliminated. Braun Strowman comes in and eliminates both Randy Orton and Johnny Gargano. And hey, it's Cody Rhodes versus Braun Strowman. Cody Rhodes kind of toe holds Braun Strowman into a pod, uses the shards of the pod and just stabs the fuck out of Braun's forehead. That would be cool, doing everything he can. Braun grabs Cody by his head and fucking flings him at the chamber wall. Maybe gets his foot caught up in there. And then Braun Strowman does like a cannonball, which might hurt because that's risky. But again, Cody Rhodes goes up on the very top of the pod and does like a crossbody, dropping Braun Strowman. And then he uses all of his strength to pick him up out of it, using the momentum of it bouncing off the mat to pick him up for a crossroads. Hits it, and Cody Rhodes retains the WWE Champion. Now we go into WrestleMania, the main event of Night 2 this time. It's the men's turn, and Cody Rhodes is facing off against the WWE Champion, or the Royal Rumble winner, Roman Reigns. It's about time Reigns won a second Rumble, especially it's the Tribal Chief. And this time he's going after the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes has something that the Tribal Chief wants, and the Tribal Chief is going to get it. These two go on about 20-25 minutes. Depends on what Triple H wants to do. I'm just throwing out hardballs right now. It's a pretty good affair of Cody Rhodes doing a suicide dive. Reigns catches it into a spear. That's a nice spot. That would be cool. Cody Rhodes maybe on the apron about to do a crossroads off, but Roman Reigns reverses it and pushes Cody Rhodes into the corner post, the post thing. Another good spot would be Cody Rhodes coming in for a elbow, but Reigns reverses it into a Superman punch. A crossroads reversed into the guillotine. I think that's how the match should end, and that's Roman Reigns winning the WWE Championship for, I think, the 7th time or something like that. I don't know. Now Reigns will have a pretty lengthy run with the WWE Championship. We go into Backlash, Reigns versus Rhodes 2. Probably not going to be as good as the first match, if I had to guess. Not a big of a stage, so they're probably not going to try as hard. But Reigns retains. Next up, we have Roman Reigns versus Tommaso Ciampa inside Hell in a Cell. These two will fucking brawl all across that cell. I can imagine Ciampa just raking Reigns' face across the steel, just grating it like cheese, and see skin starting. I'm sorry. Weapons flying across. Ciampa and Reigns are both busted open. Reigns does end up winning after Ciampa gets a bit too pissed off, and Reigns beats him 1-2-3. Ciampa says he wants a rematch, though. So at Money in the Bank, Roman Reigns will face off against Ciampa one more time. And Reigns says, you don't get any more chances after this. You screwed up once. The Tribal Chief's not letting you go off again, screwing up and giving you another shot. Alright? I already did this last time I was world champion, giving people too many chances. And Reigns is putting his foot down. He beats Tommaso Ciampa a lot easier than he did at Hell in a Cell. He retains. And next up, Bronson Steiner, Mr. Money in the Bank, is cashing in. He's giving Reigns notice at Battleground. He's cashing in against him, and Reigns pretty much laughs in his face, saying, you are super stupid. Why are you giving me prep time? And Bronson Steiner says, I'm confident enough that I can beat you, Reigns, or Roman, or Joe, NYE, I don't know. These two have a pretty good brawl. 18-minute match. Bronson Steiner surprisingly wins the WWE Champion. This is a big shock to everyone. This is more so as him being a transitional champion because I'm giving a certain legend one more run at the top before his retirement. And I think his retirement's close. And I'm pretty sure this certain legend has already said he's probably retiring in the WWE, if I remember correctly. And at SummerSlam, Bronson Steiner will be defending the WWE Champion against Chris Jericho. Yeah, it's got to give him one more run. We've got to. This is just how I would book Chris Jericho's final year in wrestling. So, Bronson Steiner defending the WWE Championship against Chris Jericho at SummerSlam. These guys go 20 minutes. It's a very good technical matchup. Submissions, holds, wrestling maneuvers, suplexes, lion salts. It's, Jesus Christ, bodies are flying everywhere. It looks like all these moves that are being hurt like hell, and you can feel like, ugh. And however, Chris Jericho beats Bronson Steiner and becomes the WWE Champion for the final time. Now we give him a pretty good reign up until WrestleMania. So we have a rematch between Jericho and Steiner, this time in a ultimate submission match. They got 30 minutes. Whoever makes submissions the most wins, and a 3-1. Yes, Jericho does beat Steiner 3-1. That one was from Jericho just tapping out. Pretty decisive victory from Jericho. I'm not trying to bury Steiner, but here's the thing though, most of Steiner's losses are because Jericho cheated. So it's not really burying him. Next up, we have Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens, rekindling that rivalry, and Jericho tells Owens, I owe you an ass whooping. And Owens like, dude, you came back to the WWE with a rocker haircut. Your hairline is getting looks like ass. You have long hair, it looks like ass. We have maybe Extreme Rules in this year should be held in Canada so we can have a Toronto street fight. That'd be cool. I had something in my mouth. A nice spot would be Kevin Owens pop-up powerbombing Jericho onto the barricade, and then having that be reversed, and having that be that transition ending with Owens in a triangle. And, of course, it's going to end with Jericho hitting the Codebreaker on Owens. Probably after Owens tries a 5-star Frog Splash. Frog Splash, Codebreaker, Jericho retains. And then we have a rematch at Day 1, a 30-minute Iron Man match. A 2-1. 2-1. It's not that Jericho's final victory isn't a, oh, hey, oh, 3 seconds go. Oh my god, he got that. No. It's like, the final moments of the match are Jericho and Owen just punching the out of each other that they're really good at doing, and then, and they're still going at it, and the referee has to stop them, and they both fall over. Technically, it's 2-1. Jericho retains just based off that, even though they're both kind of flushed after the fact. And then finally, at the Royal Rumble, Jericho versus Owens, there must be a winner. So, only pinfalls or submissions. No countouts, no disqualifications. There must be a winner. Even though Jericho won the last 2 times, but you know what I mean. These guys go all out. They're brawling everywhere. Up the ramp, down the ramp. A stretcher got pulled out of under the ring, and Owens is beating Jericho with it for some reason. However, Jericho injures Owens' leg as Owens is walking into the ring. Jericho grabs his leg and kind of buckles it with the middle rope and kind of buckles his knee. and Jericho uses that to puts in the walls, and Owens has to tap from all the pain. Jericho retains. And so we have a one-off match going to Fastlane, a rematch from WrestleMania 26, Chris Jericho versus Edge. And Edge is looking at Jericho like, Jericho, every time you've had that title, you've cheated to win, buddy. Jericho's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, if I cheated, then why am I WWE champion? And Edge's like, because you cheated. Jericho's like, Edge, you've always been riding my coattails, you stupid idiot. And at Fastlane, I'm going to prove that I was the better man all along. Turns out Chris Jericho's a better man because he cheats to beat Edge. Hallelujah. And so at WrestleMania, Chris Jericho's retirement match, Jericho comes out and says, WrestleMania 41 will be my last match in pro wrestling. I've had a fun time with all the promotions I've been in, New Japan, All Elite Wrestling, WWE. And it's time I need to hang up the boots. I've been in the business for so long, I feel like I don't have anything else to give. I don't. And he calls out the Royal Rumble winner, Daniel Bryan. And he says, there is not a single person that I think would be a better fit to challenge me in my last match than you, Daniel Bryan. And these guys go 25 minutes, technical matchup, it's beautiful, and Daniel Bryan wins. And he shakes Chris Jericho's hands afterwards, and Jericho lifts his arm up, saying, this guy is good, he's the future of pro wrestling, period. Now we go on to Daniel Bryan's reign with the title, and we're almost done. We're not going to WrestleMania 42, so spoiler. And so Daniel Bryan's first challenger is Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross saying his time as WWE Champion just started, but the grains are falling super quickly, and your time is running out. Tick tock. Daniel Bryan retains. It's a good match. These guys beat the hell out of each other. Karrion Kross is hitting Daniel Bryan with everything he has, and Daniel Bryan kick out after kick out. And then as Karrion Kross is running towards Daniel Bryan, Bryan hits the Falcon Knee and wins the match. Then at Hell in a Cell, the Hell in a Cell match, Daniel Bryan, Karrion Kross 2 for the title. I think a nice spot would be Karrion Kross, handcuffing his left arm, Daniel Bryan's left arm to the cell and his right arm to a turnbuckle, and just beating the fucking piss out of Daniel Bryan with a kendo stick, just beating the Frenching on him. Just kind of like how Seth Rollins beat down Dominic Mysterio with the kendo stick that one time. Something like that. But even after all that, Daniel Bryan looked strong because Daniel Bryan retains against Karrion Kross. That was really the only spot I had in mind for this match. I'm sure Bryan and Kross could work magic. Next up, we have a one-off feud for Money in the Bank, and that is Sami Zayn saying he respects Daniel Bryan a lot. He's one man that he loved working with when he was here in his first run, and he's someone he wants to work with now that he's WWE Champion. He respects him, and he wants to try and beat him for the WWE Championship. It's a good match. Man, I'm sure these two could get a 5-star match if they wanted to, but probably won't. But it's a good match. The Luva kick, running knee. Luva kick, running knee. They're hitting each other with everything they got. But Daniel Bryan locks in the LaBelle lock, or the Yes lock, and retains the WWE Champion. Next up, we have... NXT Europe. I'm bringing in someone who isn't even part of the WWE. There's no... I haven't even heard that this guy is even joining WWE anytime soon. Literally. But he's going to be someone from NXT Europe who works his way up to the main roster, and he's going to be a mid to upper mid-carder. He's going to be in that area. He's going to be solid, and he's going to be challenging against Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship at Battleground, and that person's going to be Joe Hendry. I know. This won't happen. But I had no one else, and Joe Hendry was the first person to come into my mind, and he's absolutely someone that Triple H should hire because he's fucking amazing. And Joe Hendry and Daniel Bryan will put on a phenomenal match. Joe Hendry is cheating, but Daniel Bryan is just too resilient from all the cheating. and he retains against Joe Hendry. They even go at it again at SummerSlam, and it's even better match. Joe Hendry doing everything he can. Think about the Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia match at Dynamite recently. It's that good. That's how good this match would be. But Daniel Bryan still retains. But wait a minute. Music starts playing. Is that Mr. Money in the Bank Bobby Lashley? Yes, it is. We've got heel Bobby Lashley. He's going to cash in on Daniel Bryan right now after going through 25 minutes of a hellacious matchup. And Bobby Lashley beats Daniel Bryan with the help of, yep, the Hurt Business. They're back together, baby. And then at Unforgiven, we have a steel cage match. Daniel Bryan doesn't want any interference from the Hurt Business. He doesn't want Cedric Alexander or Chad Gable or MVP. I replaced Shelton Benjamin with Chad Gable. Chad Gable is actually a pretty good fit for the Hurt Business. He fits in with that style of wrestling, I guess you could say, that the group is made up of. And I could just imagine him in a suit with the sunglasses being a fucking douchebag. That would be hilarious. But Bobby Lashley plus fucking Daniel Bryan all across the place. And he puts in the Hurt Lock, and Daniel Bryan passes out. And a cool spot would be, after the ref rings the bell, Bobby Lashley fucking chucks Daniel Bryan through the cell wall. And just be like, yo, get a stretcher, he's out. And, of course, Bobby Lashley retains. Now, going into the final event that I am booking for this video, we got Gang Warfare. We've got Finn Balor, Adam Cole, and Bobby Lashley. The Judgment Day, the Undisputed Era, and the Hurt Business. They're going after all the gold in WWE. Judgment Day have some titles, the Undisputed Era has some titles, Hurt Business have some titles. And, you know, we have Damian Priest and Joe Gacy versus Cedric Alexander and Chad Gable versus Damian Priest and Joe Gacy. Versus Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. For the Raw Tag titles, you can have whoever hold the titles. For the U.S. title, we've got Roger Strong versus, let's say, Dominic Mysterio versus, let's say, Leo Rush. For the U.S. title. Do something like that. But this match goes on about 18 minutes, and Adam Cole pins Bobby Lashley to win the WWE Championship. So, how'd it do? I doubt any of this will happen. Like how I kind of fluffed up the Universal title bookings, but it's fine. It's fine. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is the Chaotic One saying, peace.